And I think this gets overlooked a lot, Sean. I think there's some huge worldwide cataclysmic destructive trumpet judgments that have worldwide effects and massive effects that are undeniable, that everybody will notice, that go down before we have the beast step on the scene. And this gets overlooked a lot. I especially wanted to do this episode tonight, Sean, because of how many people are noticing world stage events and just unfortunately what's affecting so many people, and that people are willingly getting in line to inject themselves with poison. And so we have a lot of people in the body of believers in these communities that are seeing these things and trying to make connections and trying to interpret scripture in light of them. And they're thinking we're in the time of the beast of Revelation and we're seeing the mark of the beast happen. But I want to point out these things in this video here, in these verses from Revelation 8-9, that would show you things that are going to happen before any of that comes, before the beast, before his mark. We're going to see these things.
Yeah.
And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into the earth, and there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. The first angel sounded his trumpet, and there came hail and fire mixed with blood, and it was hurled down on the earth. A third of the earth was burned up, a third of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burned up. The second angel sounded his trumpet, and something like a huge mountain, all ablaze, was thrown into the sea. A third of the sea turned into blood, a third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. The magnitude of this impact will also send waves roaring into the coastlines, massively affecting coastal cities, possibly wiping them off the map. The third angel sounded his trumpet, and a great star, blazing like a torch, fell from the sky on a third of the rivers and on the springs of water. The name of the star is Wormwood. A third of the waters turned bitter, and many people died from drinking the waters that had turned bitter. The fourth angel sounded his trumpet, and a third of the sun was struck, a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that a third of them turned dark. A third of the day was without light, and also a third of the night. The disaster caused by the first three trumpets will disrupt the Earth's surface, and will cause volcanic action on a level so great, smoke and debris will cause a blockout of much of the natural light from the sun. As I watched, I heard an eagle that was flying in midair call out in a loud voice, "Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth because of the trumpet blast about to be sounded by the other three angels." Then the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fallen from heaven to the earth. To him was given the key to the bottomless pit, and he opened the bottomless pit, and smoke arose out of the pit like the smoke of a great furnace. So the sun and the air were darkened because of the smoke of the pit. Then out of the smoke locusts came upon the earth, and to them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. They were commanded not to harm the grass of the earth, or any green thing, or any tree, but only those men who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. And they were not given authority to kill them, but to torment them for 5 months. Their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when it strikes a man. In those days men will seek death and will not find it. They will desire to die, and death will flee from them.
A little bit better one, had the smaller one tonight. But yeah, I hope that gives you a good visual for the first 5 trumpet judgments. Our Messiah comes back at the 7th one.
Yeah, the fifth trumpet is where it gets where we start to get back into some of the verbiage and language of something coming out of this bottomless pit.
Revelation 9 verse 1 starts off by saying, "The fifth angel sounded, and a star from heaven which had fallen to the earth, and the key of the bottomless pit was given to him, and opened the bottomless pit. He opened it, and smoke went up out of the pit like the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by the smoke of the pit. Then out of the smoke came locusts upon the earth, and power was given to them, as the scorpions of the earth have power. They were told not to hurt the grass of the earth, nor any green thing, nor any tree, but only the men who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads. They have as king over them." Who is the they? Those locust type creatures that was just talking about in the verses before. They have a king over them, and the angel of the abyss is what he's called in this passage, and his name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in the Greek he has the name Apollyon. So hopefully we've outlined for you guys that so much is happening, right? You got the trumpet judgments, worldwide cataclysmic events of, oceans turning into blood. A third of the sea ships and sea creatures are destroyed. You have a third of all the whole world basically getting burned up. It says all the green grass gets burned up. I got grass in my backyard. I've never seen it all burned up.
Right.
I almost did it one time on accident, but it's not all been burned. I know there was lots of fires going on, guys, at one point, but there's so many of these things that are clearly have not happened. Right. So that the mark is not here because the second beast and the first beast have not even stepped on the scene. It's, as we just read, is the second beast that causes all the people to administer the mark. And if the first beast hasn't even come out, the second beast can't cause people to worship the first beast to make all that happen in the first place. So hopefully you've seen a succession of events here for you to be able to get that into perspective. When does this beast arrive? Fifth trumpet, guys. No sooner, no later. After 4 trumpets, before the last 2, fifth trumpet is when he steps on the scene. And then when is the mark of the beast? That's after the second beast comes out of the pit, as we read in Revelation 13. It says he comes out of the sea, but we're here to tell you he was another god of the underworld. If you'll check out Investigating Babylon, the Mark of the Beast episode, you'll see more about that character. But that mark of the beast doesn't come until after all those trumpet judgments, after the beast steps out of the pit, and after his counterpart, the false prophet, steps on the scene and causes people to worship him in his likeness and his image that they set up.